former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, has admitted that Pakistan violated the Lahore Agreement that he and Atal Bihari Vajpayee had signed in 1999, and he indirectly referred to the Kargil misadventure by General Pervez Musharraf as Pakistan's fault. In a meeting with the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz General Council, Sharif admitted that on 28th of May 1998, Pakistan carried out 5 nuclear tests. After that, the then Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee came here and made an agreement with them. But Pakistan violated the agreement. It was their fault. The Lahore Declaration that was signed in February 1999 was a significant step to thaw the frosty ties between India and Pakistan. The agreement was born out of the summit in Lahore. But a few months later, Pakistani intrusion in the Kargil district in Jammu and Kashmir led to the Kargil war. The agreement had stressed on, number 1, resolution of Kashmir issue, number 2, terrorism, number 3, nuclear weapons, number 4, focus on dialogue, and number 5, protection of human rights. Today, 25 years later, under the Modi regime, the Kashmir issue has been resolved. With the revocation of Article 370, India has made it amply clear to Pakistan and to the rest of the world that Kashmir was and always remain an integral part of India. Today, 25 years later, India has ensured that terrorism is combated. The Uri and the Balakot strikes have taught Pakistan-based terrorists a lesson. Today, 25 years later, when narratives are peddled by Congress leaders that India must fear Pakistan's nuclear capabilities, they are laughed off because of a strong and decisive leadership that has taken stern policy measures to put Pakistan in its place. Today, 25 years later, India understands that there can be no dialogue with the rogue terror state. It is India that dictates the terms, not Pakistan. Today, 25 years later, India has acted upon its promise of protecting human rights of thousands of Hindus, Sikhs and Christian minorities living in Pakistan who are persecuted and exploited systematically. The government of India has implemented the Citizenship Amendment Act to save their lives. Let's start this conversation. Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee, about that historic declaration that was signed between Nawaz Sharif and the then Prime Minister of our country, Shri Vajpayee, and the fallout that happened after the Kargil war has allowed our country to learn lessons, and particularly in the last 10 years, like I reiterated, about the abrogation of Article 370, the Citizenship Amendment Act, fighting terrorism, the Uri and the Balakot strikes, have leveraged India's position and put Pakistan in the back foot.
Yes, Megha, I was actually posted in MEA. I was Joint Secretary Europe West when all these developments occurred. The first lesson of the Lahore Declaration and the way it was put aside by Pervez Musharraf, the then army chief, with the Kargil misadventure, actually demonstrates the difficulty that India has had in dealing with a weak civilian government, which it is bound to do as a democracy, knowing that the shots are actually fired by the Pakistani deep state, which is the army and the ISI. In this particular case, for example, when one of India's greatest prime ministers, in my opinion, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, traveled in a bus bringing hope to both people, and he wrote a poem on that occasion, I remember, which was with regard to Aman, peace, and he was enthusiastically received on the other side of the border too. And the Lahore Declaration actually established that when 2 nuclear weapon states have nuclear weapons, operational nuclear weapons, you are actually supposed to do this. You're supposed to establish what is called strategic deterrence and accept that if they fire a nuclear weapon, we would do the same, both countries would be destroyed. And in fact, we accepted no first use, which the Pakistanis have never accepted. Nevertheless, it was short-lived, and I still remember that after the Kargil misadventure, I was with my then Foreign Minister, Jaswant Singh Ji. When I went with him to receive the bodies in the Air Force Station in Palam in Indira Gandhi International Airport. And I remember my then Foreign Minister not allowing me inside and weeping when he saw the tortured bodies of our soldiers in uniform. And he said, I've been a soldier and I cannot bear to see the desecration of soldiers in uniform. Kargil was a wake up call for India. And as you rightly point out, 25 years later, the country has fundamentally changed. Kargil can never happen again. Kargil happened because we thought that we could trust a weak civilian prime minister who seemed to be well disposed towards India, and we forgot that there was an evil, manipulating, plotting chief of army staff who was planning Kargil while the Lahore Declaration was being signed between two democratically elected prime ministers. So, yes, it's a very different India, but the dilemma that if ever we want to talk, Megha, to whom we should talk remains, because in the present setup in Pakistan, it seems very unlikely that the army and the ISI will allow any elected, democratically elected prime minister to have proper talks with India. And we as India, we cannot as a democracy hold talks with the Pakistani army and set aside whoever is the civilian prime minister. So this is a dilemma which continues. That is the only thing that has not changed between 99 and 24. Everything else has changed. Megha.
Professor Madhav Nalapad, do you feel that at this time India still is contemplating whether a dialogue is necessary if it can be initiated with Pakistan? Or is it only a certain few politicians living in Kashmir, or the kind of statements that are peddled from the Congress leaders, far and few in between, who hint at once again involving Pakistan in holding dialogues, as dialogues is key to communication? Is there any sort of illusion that we still have that this is holding dialogues, having conversations with Pakistan will help ease problems on both sides of the border?
Well, I'd like to say that I fully agree with you that this government, Article 370 was removed, and Article 370 was a remnant of two-nation theory. It's an absurd theory, and if it was removed, and as a consequence, Kashmir is now much more peaceful and much more open to development than was ever the case in the past. And as the government has made it amply clear, Kashmir is and will remain an integral part of India. Now, the point about dialogue, so far as the Pakistan is concerned, Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a wonderful prime minister, as the ambassador said. He walked, if I remember, my words during that period, not an extra mile, but an extra 10 and 100 miles for peace. And he believed that Nawaz Sharif had the consent of the army when he signed this Lahore Declaration. The fact was the army was using Nawaz Sharif as camouflage for a sneak attack on Kargil. And that's exactly what happened. But, so magnanimous was Mr. Vajpayee that subsequently he legitimized in a way the General Musharraf's takeover of power, illegal takeover of power by a military coup, by inviting him to Agra. So India really went the extra mile. So far as Prime Minister Modi is concerned, he has learnt a lesson from all the lessons of the past. And he understands very well, especially now that Pakistan and China are now joined together in a mutual hatred of a rising India, that trust but verify. And what is verification? Verification is to be prepared for the worst eventualities. Verification is to be ready for conflict if need be, and that is exactly what has been done across the borders. So I think you're perfectly right. The reality was that Nawaz Sharif had no control over the military, and the implicit assumption that was made by that he was talking on behalf of the military was clearly proved to be false. And therefore, this whole question of the ambassador saying, whom are we going to talk to? The fact is, we create realities on the ground. And if we create realities on the ground, we are not going to be subject to the kind of unpleasant surprises that came upon us in 1999 at Kargil.
Okay. Major General K.K. Sinha, in the current scenario where there is no leeway that is given by the Indian government, by the Home Ministry for any kind of aggressiveness, terrorist activities from Pakistan-based terrorists or by the Pakistani army or the armed forces targeting India. That has been, like I said, ample number of examples. If you take a look back at the last 10 years, the number of terrorist attacks in our country have been to the minimum. When we talk about a number of actions, policy changes that have been made by the government are unprecedented. The kind of narrative that used to be peddled in the international scenario, in the international arena about Kashmir and how there would be countries like the OIC, countries like they were United Nations and United States of America who would start talking about and interfering into the matter, saying that there should be United Nations intervention that is required. And today they all are silent. They talk about how the issue is between India and Pakistan. They speak about how abrogation of Article 370 and Kashmir being an integral part of India is actually the truth. So the changes that we have seen, and Nawaz Sharif obviously at this point of time trying to make overtures towards India to hold dialogue, but something we have learned that lesson hard, and we are not going to forget it soon.
Megha, Jai Hind. Today we are actually, reviewing what happened 25 years back. And if you actually carry out the review, you will find that, the Pakistan probably playing the same game. See, Nawaz Sharif making a statement that they violated the peace agreement, which was signed on 21st of February 1999. And after that, just 2 months after that, because I was there in the service, commanding a unit in Delhi, and Kargil happened. My battalion was airlifted, and then we have taken the Kargil war. So I have seen the Kargil war from very close quarter. The DC, the way it was put, the plan was put even much before. We were on 21st of February, and Nawaz Sharif was fully aware of it. This has been told and amply time by everyone, including Pervez Musharraf, who actually did this Kargil war. Now, the point is like this, when Nawaz Sharif actually was holding that, the peace talk and the peace agreement, when the bus diplomacy was taking place, he was totally aware of it. We should not get, bogged down, because today he has owned up that it was the violation of peace agreement. Because I say that, I challenge and prove it. He was again the prime minister in 2014. Probably you leave it what happened in Kargil war, and after that, 2014, he was the prime minister, and our prime minister called him in an inaugural, when it was, he was taking over as the prime minister. After that, Prime Minister Modi tried 2 years. He even landed in Lahore. Sharif was there. What happened? Just after 6 days, Pathankot attack came. And just, if you carry on, after that, Nawaz Sharif was there. Why happened that time? Then Uri happened. Then Pulwama happened. So Nawaz Sharif can't make a statement and get away now today saying that, it was a mistake. It is, why he is doing this? We have to see the sinister design. POK is boiling. POK people wants to join India. And it is 40.5 lakh Pakistani who wants to cross over to India and join hands. It is Gilgit-Baltistan, where the people are demanding to join with India. So all these gimmicks, and India is the first time has taken, after Buranwani case in 2016, when we decided talk and terror will not go. Even Bajwa making this statement when Kartarpur was happening. We have got short memories. We have got short, and we believe in the face value. He is the same dangerous man who has been, now accusing, because army has thrown him out in 2017. He was ousted. The same people, they can do anything. You just can't believe it. If they have to actually prove it that they, they wants to have, first agree on POK. POK UN resolutions there. Why to talk on Kashmir? You have in the resolution or the peace agreement, you have in your opening narrative, you brought it out 5 points: Kashmir, nuclear, dialogue, human rights. That's fine. But what is happening today? The ground reality is that we are now very close. That, we wanted that the POK has been asked, which we have given by sinister design of the people who was leading that time in 1947, 48 onwards. And ample time came in 65, in 71. Even after Kargil, it came because I was fighting deep inside the Pakistan. We had the chances to again get that thing back because NLI in Gilgit-Baltistan, even because I am a witness and I'm not saying, something on a history or someone has read. I've seen on ground NLI, 5 NLI, 6 NLI boys, which we have apprehended. They wanted to come and join Indian Army. These are not documented.
Okay.
These are not people talking about.
Okay.
So we have to understand the sinister design.
Right,
what
absolutely.
is happening today.
Absolutely. Ravinder Sachdev, again, taking the point from what General K.K. Sinha said about how there is turmoil and chaos in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Is this then a knee-jerk reaction coming in from Pakistan when you see Nawaz Sharif, whose brother at this point is the president, who's gained civilian control, but again, the military control very well lies with the generals?
Yeah, thank you, Megha. No, certainly. I mean, I'll take maybe a parallel this thing. My take on this is, I'm looking at the timing. And with respect to the timing, I'm also of Nawaz Sharif's statement, and with respect to timing, I'm also looking at India elections. Now, elections will be over, and most probably on the 4th or 5th, not most probably, whatever, we'll have a new Prime Minister, most probably Prime Minister Modi, whatever, right? Now, when a new Prime Minister comes in, anytime, either an existing one, another term, or a fresh new one, there's always a sense of a new beginning, starting of something new and all. So I think what Nawaz Sharif and Pakistan are playing through this is kind of, either signaling in good intent or real intent layered with good intent, that they are kind of having, if not second thoughts, they're having deep introspection, that they've been making mistakes in the past, and they want to improve their relations with India. Okay. So I think that Nawaz Sharif, and assuming it's the whole Pakistan establishment working, if not in tandem, but in synergy, is looking at this as a window of opportunity for them to, either initiate with India something or send India some signals new or whatever, etc., through which they want a certain response, what they think from India. So I'm looking purely at it in terms of the timing. Now, will there be a new fresh beginning? Of course, there will be a new fresh beginning when the new Prime Minister, refreshes his entire agenda, looks forward, does his reflection and moves on. So in this time period, this window, I think that's what Nawaz Sharif is trying to kind of, create an opening for himself, for Pakistan. Of course, as I think all our panelists say, and as I think we all understand and agree, that the civil government, as Ambassador said very rightly, absolutely in the beginning, the civil government has no control on the, the intelligence, the deep state, the military, the elite who run, right? So, if Nawaz Sharif moves on this signal, on this messaging, is that whole entirety behind him? I doubt it. Though there could be reasons, I think, again, which we also mentioned, Pakistan is in dire states right now. POK is boiling, Gilgit-Baltistan is boiling, Balochistan is under stress, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa under stress, economy under huge stress. It could be, another way, another aspect. I think another round of IMF tranche is supposed to come up for negotiations. So this could also be a strategy for Pakistan to, posture and say that, look here, we are wanting to talk peace, we are signaling peace. Meanwhile, please hurry up on our, economic package.
I think, that's an important point. And that has been quite often repeated, this pattern, as a ploy to get those funds that are required. And of course, then funnel them into, again, the terror deep state that Pakistan is. All right. I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.